Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Lane Hoffert. A barbecue was held today at the Green Space at Synovus Place here in Lloydminster to raise money for an important cause. I went there to find out more. Kagan Neen, who is the executive director of the Lloydminster Men's Shelter, is running from Big Berland, Alberta to Roxton, Saskatchewan to raise money for the shelter. Neen has made significant progress with his run.
Just over 620 kilometers into the run, so just about the halfway mark. So very excited to be here and to be able to have a group of runners coming in with me into the Lloyd and having a few more people running with me to Marshall. So it's been a fantastic journey.
Neen has battled through sore muscles, shin splints, and cramps while on his incredible run so far, all while keeping in mind what he is running for.
So we're desperately needing to get a bigger facility, so not just for more beds. We serve about 250 clients every single month, and we only have 28 beds. So to get a bigger facility so that we have more beds for men and then convert our existing shelter into a women's shelter as well, but then also creating a safe outdoor space for clients that don't have a shelter that they can even stay in.
Anyone interested in getting to know Kagan Neen and his amazing run, as well as anybody looking to donate towards building a new men's shelter, can go online to find out all of the information they need.
So if you go to www.lloydminstershelter.com, it's got the full journey and the story. So it talks a little bit about my starting with the shelter. It talks about the start of the run, and you can see where I'm actually finishing each day. It has the running total in regards to how much we've raised, how many kilometers have been run. So it's very exciting, so you can follow along with the journey.
The goal for Running for Shelter is to raise $300,000. With the run at around the midpoint, there is still plenty of time to donate. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News. Mirroring similar municipalities, Lloydminster is taking more action to combat costs involving fire services in the city. Firemark is a federally incorporated company which acts to financially support municipal fire departments. They work alongside communities across Canada to recover fire services fees from insurance companies after a fire incident.
It doesn't go to the taxpayer, it goes directly to the insurance company. So if you as a homeowner or as a business owner don't have fire insurance, you aren't on the hook for the fire. So your taxes are already covering that. This is only if you've got fire coverage. They go after the insurance company and get the collection for the fire department for those funds.
Council wants to ensure that this program will not have a financial toll on residents in Lloydminster.
It seems like a good program. My only big concern with that is I don't want us to be able to overstep, and if Firemark can't collect the money, we go back to the taxpayers. The taxpayers already pay their taxes, and that includes our fire services. So if we can go after the insurance company and it doesn't impact or burden the taxpayer, it's a good idea.
If you'd like to view the cost recovery program, visit lloydminster.ca. Abby St. John is back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for our weekly edition of Pet Project.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for our weekly edition of Pet Project, and today we have 3 of the cutest little puppies. They are named after Paw Patrol characters, and there was a litter of them. They're now at 3, but we have Sweetie, Rocky, and Zuma. Absolutely adorable. So tell me a little bit about their litter, how they came to be, and what you guys are looking for before they're adopted.
So we had a litter of 8 puppies come in. 4 are currently in foster. We are right now looking for fosters for these 3. When they were brought to us, their eyes weren't even open yet, like they may have been probably a day or 2 old. Bylaw brought them into us with their mama, and they're about 8 weeks old now. We're estimating their birthday to be around the 20th of June. So they're just shy of 8 weeks right now. Very rambunctious, especially little Sweetie here.
Yes, they are very energetic and very vocal
Yes.
when left in a kennel, for sure. They like their freedom, as most puppies do, but they are just adorable, so sweet. Now, you are looking for fosters to adopt, so tell me a little bit about that process for people who may be interested in these adorable puppies.
So we do have a foster program. You can apply online or in person at the shelter. And basically what a foster does is take care of these animals in a safer environment. It's better, get them used to being in a house and stuff. It just really helps, and it's safer, a lot cleaner, healthier. When they're small like this, we like to, get them homes as soon as possible. These guys are, again, they're very sweet. They're so soft. You guys, hi.
And for those who do want to foster, what do they have to do with the application process and all that technical stuff?
Fill out an application. We'll ask for references. And what a foster does is take care of these animals in their home for us. We'll take them to their vet appointments, bring them in to get their vaccines. Food and medical costs are all covered by the shelter while they're in foster. And when you're a foster, you do have the option to foster to adopt, get a little bit of a discount off of the animals that you have already been taken care of. And of course, it's hard to foster them, and then some people do get quite attached, and it's hard to give them back. So we call those foster fails, and they're my favorite.
And they're the best kind of fails.
Yeah.
That's the time you want it to fail, because it's just
Love.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the perfect fit. And I think when you know. But these three would definitely make a great addition, and it would bring a lot of laughter to your household, for sure. Just in the short amount of time that they've been here, they, as you can see, they're all puppy,
All over
very
the
much
place.
puppy.
Hello, sweetheart.
Now, speaking of kind of going off a discount, you still have the sale this month of August going on for your animals. So let's go through the prices a little bit and let people know what the sale is for the animals.
So all of our fuzzy bets here are going to be 40% off for the entire month of August. So normally where a puppy would be about $300, kittens about $300, you're paying about $180. Puppies are usually around $4, you'd get a discount off that, for sure. These guys are still pretty little. They will still need to be spayed and neutered and vaccinated. But yeah, fosters, we coordinate. They bring the animals to their appointments. Pretty easy peasy, as long as you don't mind a little bit of a mess, because they are still babies, they're learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you have a barbecue coming up on the 29th this month, so give a quick description of what people should know about that fundraiser.
So St. Thomas is hosting a fundraising barbecue on the 29th. It's also I believe their orientation day for school to start. So we will be there. There'll be a couple of staff members or volunteers with some of the animals, so that people can come in and kind of, see who we have, maybe get some cuddles in. And of course, it is for a good cause, because medical expenses probably eat up the most of our donations, and we want to help as many of them as we possibly can. And for the people who have come and donated their time, volunteered their time, and donated cleaning supplies and things to us, it is a huge weight lifted off the shelter's shoulders, because as a nonprofit, it is really hard sometimes, right? And especially in a season like this where there's a lot of kittens, a lot of puppies, those donations and things really go a long way. So thank you so much.
And going off of that, are there any specific donations they are needing this week?
Yes. We are in need of cleaning supplies, laundry, soap. We're looking for dog gastro food. It's a specialty food usually found at a vet's office. We're also looking for things like poop bags, the Kong type toys, peanut butter. These guys love the peanut. They love peanut. Yeah.
You can't even say peanut butter.
There's medium or small non-latex gloves, just because there are some staff who have allergies or animals that could possibly have allergies, so it's nice to have them on hand in case we need them. Fans also as well. We do have a few, but a few more would be greatly appreciated. And if anybody could donate 1 or 2 of the commercial-sized shop brooms, that'd be handy, because we do have a lot of floor space, and using a standard like house-sized broom just takes up a bit of time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can imagine for sure. Well, thank you again for joining once again this week. And these 3 are every bit puppy as you can imagine, and they will make any household incredibly lucky. So thanks again for joining me.
Thank you.
We'll have more primetime local news after the break. A New York Times best-selling author has written another book. Michael Hinkson was in the World Trade Center when it was attacked. He is legally blind and was able to get out of the building along with his guide dog. Stacy Comer found out how he has used this experience to write another book related to the incident.
I'm joined today by author Michael Hinkson on Primetime Local News. Michael, you have a new book out, and that's what we're going to be chatting today. But first of all, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Well, we're going to talk about the book called Live Like a Guide Dog, which is your newest book that's coming out. And Michael, tell me a little bit about your backstory and the premise for you writing this book.
In 2011, I and a woman named Susie Flory wrote a book called Thunder Dog, the story of a blind man, his guide dog, and the triumph of trust, that became a #1 New York Times bestseller. 2 years later, we wrote Running with Roselle. Another friend of Susie's helped me do that. It was more of a children's book. So Running with Roselle was written by me and Jeanette Hampscom. And both books are still completely available wherever books are sold. Running with Roselle primarily through Amazon. It was self-published. And I continued to travel and speak until the pandemic hit in 2020. And when it did, I started to think aloud about what had happened. And I realized that I did what I did on September 11th because a mindset had kicked in. And I had talked a lot about escaping and not really being overly frightened, but I never thought about teaching other people that they could learn those skills as well. And so we decided to write a new book. And I did that with, again, another friend of Susie's, Carrie Wyatt Kent. The two of us worked together. It's absolutely a collaborative effort in every way, in every sense of the word. But we wrote a book literally intended to teach people how they can learn to control fear. Rather than letting fear blind you, as I put it, or overwhelm you or whatever, and paralyzing you so you can't make decisions, there are things that you can do so that even in the most tense, fearful situations possible, you can teach your mind to control those fears and to be able to actually use fear as a way of focusing rather than being overwhelmed and being not able to be decisive. And so we wrote the book, and it's entitled Live Like a Guide Dog, True Stories from a Blind Man, True Stories from a Blind Man and His Dogs about being brave, overcoming adversity, and moving forward in faith. The idea behind it is that I learned most of what I know about teamwork and trust and leadership from working with 8 guide dogs. Because guide dogs and their handlers, if it works right, work as a team. The dog doesn't lead the blind person around. In fact, I tell reporters all the time, don't you ever dare say that a guide dog led a blind person out of the building, because it's not true. The dog's job is to make sure that we walk safe. It's my job to know where to go and how to get there. And I have techniques to do that the same way you do as a light dependent or sighted person. And the reality is that I, of course, incorporated all that, but I had realized that we didn't teach people how to deal with fear. So we wrote Live Like a Guide Dog to use the lessons I learned from guide dogs and my wife's service dog, Fantasia, about how to control fear and behave in a way that allows you to be less fearful in your life. And that's the story.
So within this book then, Michael, is it a series of stories from people that are collected, or is it more just totally based on your experience?
It's based on my experience total. We do use some examples of other people in the book, but it is based primarily on my experience. So every chapter is about a different dog. We start with my first guide dog, Squire, and we go up through Alamo, who is my current guide dog. He's my 8th dog, and a couple of other things in between. But it is all about lessons that I learned and we use other information to back up that data so that people understand that this is a real thing. But the reality is the mind is a muscle. You can learn to listen to the inner voice inside of you. That's your mind telling you things. How often do we think we have an answer when something happens and then we go, no, that can't be the right answer. It happened too quickly. And it turns out, even though we guessed something else or we did something else, it was the right answer.
This is fascinating. The story, your backstory is incredible. And just the way that you've turned your experience, into helping others is incredible. And I appreciate speaking with you today. And just before we go, Michael, where can people find your books?
Sure. So Live Like a Guide Dog is actually being released on the 20th of August, but it's available for pre-order right now from Amazon and other book places. Or you can go to michaelhingson.com, michaelhingson.com, and there are links there. We have a page. It's actually michaelhingson.com/live-like-a-guide-dog that will take you to pages where you can read about the book and order it. But it is available wherever Amazon and other are selling books and other places are selling books. And I do ask that if anybody orders it, pre-orders it, and they get it, I hope that they will not only read it, but review it. We would really appreciate that.
All right. Well, Michael, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much. And we look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Thank you. Would love to do it.
Farms across Alberta are welcoming in members of the public this weekend for Alberta Open Farm Days. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
Today I'm joined by Tim Carson, the CEO of the Alberta Association of Agriculture Societies, and he is here today to talk about Alberta Open Farm Days, which will be taking place this weekend. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Tim.
It's my pleasure to be here.
And for those who are unaware, what is Alberta Open Farm Days?
So Alberta Open Farm Days is a backstage pass, if you will, into visiting the farm, learning where our food comes from, meeting the producers, understanding the incredible quality of produce and agriculture and food that we produce right here in Alberta. It's also an exercise in agritourism, the chance to tour the province under the realm of agriculture education and agricultural experience. So there's everything from the traditional agriculture folks going to visit the farm, getting your hands in the dirt, visiting the livestock and things of that nature, as well as the corn mazes and the sunflower mazes and all of the U-picks and everything else in between. So it is a really very diverse program.
So you have 170 farms participating in Alberta Open Farm Days this year. How exciting is it to see the continuous growth of this program over the years and seeing so many farms open up their doors to the public?
It's tremendously exciting. At the end of the day, we recognize that agriculture is the backbone of Alberta as a whole, and the fact that our producers are looking to ensure that they are telling their story directly to the consumer. We're seeing great strides in direct farm marketing, where you're actually able to go up and buy that beef, buy that pork, buy that chicken, the lettuce, tomatoes, things of that nature directly from the producer, and actually see how it's grown, see the care that's taken, and understand the passion that these people have for what they do.
And this year for Alberta Open Farm Days, the theme is the Year of the Alpaca. So tell me a little bit about how you guys came up with that theme and a little bit about alpacas in general.
It's an opportunity to actually shine a spotlight on the diversity of agriculture here. Alpacas, interestingly enough, there's over 400 alpaca farms here in Alberta. Alberta has about 40% of the entire Canadian herd of alpacas. And it is again, the diverse nature of agriculture. The fiber industry is a growing industry here in Alberta. We've had the sheep's wool and the goat's wool for quite some time, but now we're into hemp and the alpaca wool. It's just another diversification, if you will, of what farms are actually working on in this day and age. Not to mention the fact that they make pretty good pictures.
Finally, Tim, when is Alberta Open Farm Days and where can people go to get more info about the program as well as all the farms participating this year?
So Open Farm Days is this weekend, August 17th and 18th. You can go to our website, albertaopenfarmdays.ca, to find out all the information on all the host farms and all of the things that are happening across the province. In there's a mapping tool as well, so you don't really have to worry about getting lost in rural Alberta if that's not familiar to you. if necessary, you can book some time space. You could look for those long table dinners and sample the incredible cuisine that our chefs from Alberta are working on. And you have the opportunity to actually make it a weekend event and do some stayovers and things of that nature, should you choose to.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Tim, and we look forward to another great weekend of Alberta Open Farm Days.
We'll see you on the farm.
Let's take a look at your pets of the day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
That's all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks for joining me.